Hey, thanks for watching this episode of the Horror Hour. If you like what you hear, maybe consider subscribing, and if you're feeling extra generous, I have my Patreon linked in the description. Now, on with the show. Fuck. Alright, I guess we're just gonna go into this, because that first try was horrible. We're doing Wreck today.
I was gonna make a joke that we're doing Shrek, but I don't know, maybe that was a bad joke.
As you can hear, I'm with somebody else this time, because I want to do that. I want to cycle through different guests for each movie I do. Please introduce yourself. Who are you? What do you do?
Hello, it is me, Ryemanni. I'm a game developer and streamer, and that was way too formal.
It's okay.
I'm Heyn's friend, and he actually recommended this movie, and I watched it, and now I'm stuck here with him.
Yeah. I'm excited to talk about Wreck today. It's a lesser-known found footage and zombie movie, and just horror movie in general. Why don't you, if you're feeling up to it, synopsize the movie real quick?
It's a found footage film where some was it independent TV studio? Maybe not. Maybe they were just like they were filming a show.
Yeah, they were. I think they were independent. They were. What was it called? It was like while you're asleep or something like that.
Oh yeah, they were making a show about stuff that happens while the city sleeps, essentially.
Yeah.
And they were filming a firefighter crew, and then shit hits the fan.
Yeah, that's pretty much all you need really for a synopsis, because shit definitely hits the fan. And to talk about that intro for a second, I really like how grounding it is. It just feels so natural, like and it almost instantly sets in dread because of that, because like the whole time you're watching you're like, oh shit, because you know what kind of movie you're watching. I assume you don't go into this blind, right?
You don't go into thinking it's a real like document series.
Yeah. So you go in and it starts with and I don't know if other found footage movies do this. It's found footage movies are kind of a genre I'm not super familiar with. They never really, for the most part, appealed to me, but I might get into them more because I really liked Wreck and Noroi, but that's for later.
I can highly recommend them. Sorry, I'm interrupting, but
no, that's fine.
Yeah, we have like a different approaches to this, because I am a huge fan of found footage. It's probably my favorite horror genre to begin with, and yeah, Blair Witch is like still the best. And I was happy to watch this because I heard high praise from you, and yeah, I just wanna talk about like the intro that instantly sets in dread, because I started watching it and I heard English. You know, people were speaking English, and I was like,
oh god,
this sounds like shit.
Oh god, did you found the dub first before the?
Yes.
Yeah, I actually, when I was looking for the movie completely legally this time around, I was like, why the fuck are they all the English dub? This sounds horrible.
Like, I didn't even know it's not English by origin. And I was like, yeah, this is clearly dubbed. And then I got like 3 viruses finding the undubbed version. But yeah, I found it eventually and I watched it. It was much better. And yeah, I didn't know it's not English, but I'm really happy about that, because that meant like no surprise cameos by Chris Pratt or anything like that. Like, you know, it's all fresh people to me, because I don't watch a lot of like international movies.
The cast is really good too.
Yeah.
Our 2 leads are probably the most interesting characters, because you know they're what the movie focuses on first. They're who lived the longest. That's Angela and Pablo. Don't ask me to remember the names of pretty much fucking anyone else, because I'm not going to. Something I like about Pablo, the actor's real name is also Pablo. Pablo Rosso.
That makes it more real in a way.
Yeah.
For the actors, at least.
But I something I really like about Pablo is that they never show his face at all.
I was just gonna bring that up. I was like, wait, do they actually show his face? We see his like we see his like foot at one point, but not his face.
Yeah, no, we never see his face.
I just realized that. I didn't even realize that while watching the movie.
Rec 2 does that too. You haven't seen Rec 2. I assume you didn't watch it anyway.
No. Should I?
It's fun if you're a fan of the first movie, but I don't think it's as good as the first movie. It goes too hard into the supernatural aspect. That's, I guess, is spoiler warning. Even though, you know, if you're getting into the series, obviously there's going to be spoilers for what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Near the end of the movie, they start introducing a sort of paranormal aspect, which I'm of two minds on. I'm not a huge fan of paranormal horror in general, especially if it's not set up from the beginning.
Maybe we should talk about how it's done in this movie, like Wreck. Because I really liked how it's done. It's not supernatural, it really feels like a biological virus kind of thing. And I prefer it that way in zombie films in general, when it's like something biological and not supernatural.
Yeah, Rec 2 goes way harder into the supernatural stuff, and basically confirms, yeah, the virus was caused by a demon, which, in context of Rec 2, it's fun, but in context of the original movie, it genuinely does kind of bring down the first movie.
Because I guess we're gonna jump directly to the end here, but I'm gonna mention this at the end when they enter the hidden apartment, or like the locked out apartment.
Yeah, the penthouse, yeah.
Yes, and they find all these, like, to me that felt like, you know, this girl was suffering from some sort of a virus, zombie virus or whatnot, but the person who was wishing to treat her thought it's somehow related to, like, demons and gods and whatnot, because it was, like, such an ancient thing or whatnot.
I wish that's where they had went with it in Rec 2, because in Rec 2, I forget if they actually explicitly say that, yes, it's a demon. It doesn't matter, because, like, there's a moment near the end of Rec 2 that genuinely, it cannot not be paranormal, in which the patient zero, the girl that they think is a demon, she just fucking, she's literally invisible, except in night vision.
Oh, wow. I guess that, this is probably not what happened, but to me that sounds like someone only saw the ending and thought that's what's, like, going on there. Like, only saw the ending and
it was the
like,
same people. It was all the same people.
Yeah, I know, but it feels like that.
And somehow Angela survives the end of Rec 1, which I guess it's the horror trope where they don't actually show her die, so sure, maybe she lived. It's one of my least favorite tropes in horror, by the way, is when a character dies off screen, but they're not actually dead. I think the only time I've actually liked that trope is when it was being made fun of in Cabin in the Woods.
That's I haven't seen that.
We jumped so far ahead already. I was not expecting us to talk about the ending at this point.
Maybe, hang on, I have my notes here because I did take notes, and the first thing I wrote is, quote, "I had forgotten this was a zombie movie and started watching expecting ghosts, Lamau."
I guess, yeah, that is pretty standard for found footage. Yeah, honestly, thinking about it, this is a pretty different take on the found footage, like, genre, like not genre. It's pretty standard from what I can tell for how found footage functions, structurally. But
yeah,
the topic is generally pretty different in that it is more grounded. The zombies aren't really realistic in any way. Although, that is to say, I think in a zombie, like, apocalypse scenario, this is probably the most realistic outcome, is that just, it's not like overly gory, it's just people dying very quickly.
I thought it was like, it's weird to say a zombie movie is realistic, but the way they reacted, the way this virus was spreading slowly, it really felt realistic. Like, that's actually what would happen, just like accidentally, and like they don't know what they're fighting against, so they spread it around and eventually everyone gets, like, contaminated or whatnot. It felt really realistic.
Oh, totally. The only other zombie movie I've watched that I think has a sort of equivalent virus is and we've both seen this too, 28 Days Later.
Yes.
That one is, I don't think that movie is as realistic, like, as grounded as this one. Like, we'll get into it later, but, like, the human characters are all fucking human. Jesus Christ. The people inside the building are just, like, they're just real people. They just feel like real people. Like, they're not slightly exaggerated for the sake of characters and whatnot, for, like, normal movies are. Like like something like 28 Days Later is, which is not to knock that, by the way. I understand why that happens. It's for to get us more invested in the characters.
Yeah.
But to go back to the the virus, 28 Days Later has a pretty similar virus that spreads about as quickly, and it makes people just as aggressive. They're almost identical, honestly. Like thinking about it now, how those viruses function, because it's explicitly stated in Rec that it has to be saliva, right?
Yeah, they say it like once.
They say it a couple of times, I think.
Oh.
Nice. But a couple of times in Rec, that's mentioned. But in 28 Days Later, it's any bodily fluid. So I guess there is that big difference. But yeah, I don't know. That's the only thing that reminded me of 28 Days Later anyway, was the virus specifically. Just how it functions. They're not similar at all.
Going back to the how the people feel real. This is something that I noticed immediately, was how everyone was constantly screaming and people were talking over each other. That's as real as you can get. Because in a lot of Western movies, it might be a cultural thing. In a lot of Western movies, people talk their lines and they don't talk over each other. They wait for the other one to finish before they start talking. But here, people were just screaming and going ham. And that gave me like anxiety in a good way because it felt so real.
Yeah, I kind of get why that happens in like, I don't know how to describe the type of movie, but in like, I guess we can just say Western movies. It's done so that the audience can understand what the characters are saying better, but yeah, this feels more real. Like it helps ground, like a lot of what's happening in this movie is helping to is doing busy work to ground the movie in reality.
I have written down here explicitly that the first bite was scary. Because when they entered the apartment, to see what the lady is screaming about, and the old lady is like there, and first it looks like she's scared, and there's like the body, and they approach her, and then she leaps and attacks one of the firefighters, and like, no, it was the police. She attacks the police and bites his fucking like neck off. Well, not off, but like a piece of his neck away, and there's blood, and that was like, ugh.
Yeah, it's crazy how subdued the effects are for like the graphic stuff, like the blood and the gore, which again helps to ground the movie more, because like you're not gonna see like I don't think you've ever seen this movie, but you're not gonna see Braindead levels of gore where the room is literally filled with fucking blood, but it feels really, really investing. Like it's so down to earth that it's probably the closest a zombie movie has ever gotten to actually making me scared. I definitely feel the tension.
It felt like, you know how in real life, if you're walking alone, you can feel like someone's like behind you. I got that feeling from this film.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It feels pretty bad in a good way.
Like, at every moment, the cameraman can, like, turn around and there's something behind you.
I'm glad the movie never does that, though. They never do pull a cheap jump scare, except for arguably the very end of the movie, which I don't know if I'd say it's a cheap jump scare. It's still a jump scare.
I don't even... which one?
At
like,
the very
the one
end,
where she pulls...
when Angela gets pulled out of camera. It's...
That didn't even count as a jump scare in my head.
I don't know. I think it's a jump scare. It's not unearned, but I don't know. I would have preferred not having a jump scare in general. In fact, actually ending the movie without a jump scare and just keeping her in the attic, and then just like, I don't know, the battery runs out or something, that would have actually led into Rec 2 better, although I doubt they were planning Rec 2 when they finished that movie. And something cool, I guess, to talk about this for a sec, the ending credits of this music, or the ending credits of this movie have an amazing track that is not fitting at all.
Yeah, I did. I was like, what the fuck is this? But then I started like headbanging.
It's called Boudou. It's fucking great. It's amazing. It's such a fucking headbanger.
I wonder if they chose it because it kind of sounds like they're screaming wreck in the lyrics.
Well, they're saying "Rocket Baby" or something like that, I think.
Yeah.
Because there is like some English in the song, Something I really like about that, though, is that the opening of Rec 2, just to spoil this for a second, starts literally right as the first movie ends, and Voodoo is now used in the opening titles instead of the end credits. And it's really cool if you watched the first movie.
That's genuinely cool. I'll give it those points.
Rec 2 is a fine watch. We gotta fucking go back to the first movie, though.
Yes, I'm afraid of people screaming. And I don't mean, like, raising their voice and, like, talking loudly. I mean screaming. Just, when the old woman was there, I just fucking, like, ah! That's scary.
That actually reminds me, the sound design in this movie is perfect. I don't think I've seen a movie that does sound design better. Like, everything that you hear sounds like it would be heard on a handheld camera, like the one that Pablo's using in the movie.
And throughout the films, the screams echoing through the staircase corridor.
Yeah, whenever there's like a really loud sound nearby, you can hear it. I don't know if peaking's the right term, because peaking sounds kind of different. But like when the cop shoots his gun at one point in the movie, it's fucking deafening, but in a way that like sounds like it's being recorded and not like you're in the room. That's something the movie does really well, is that I guess something most other movies don't want you to be reminded of is that I am being constantly reminded of, like, yes, this is being recorded on a camera at all times. And it's one of the few times I've seen the found footage thing actually make sense to me, which is, yeah, they're like an independent news crew or whatever, right? So of course they're gonna film fucking everything.
Yeah, that's an often a pitfall that a lot of found footage films do. That there's a lot of like scenes that don't make sense, like why were these recorded? But in this, everything made sense.
That actually kind of reminds me. There's another zombie movie, found footage movie. I haven't seen it, but I've not heard good things about it. There's one scene I know about. It's a George Romero, not John Romero, like the Doom guy. It's a George Romero. It's like his last zombie movie. And it's I think it's called Diary of the Dead or something like that.
Diarrhea of the Dead.
Oh my god. But there's a scene in the movie where the guy holding the camera puts the camera down to go away to talk to somebody. It doesn't make sense that he doesn't just turn the camera off. But also, the fucking audio, you could perfectly hear both characters talking. Like as if they have fucking lav mics on or something. Even though the camera is like, I want to say 20 to 30 feet away.
Oh yeah.
That's an example of really bad found footage stuff where it's just like the footage quality is too high. The fact that they never turn the camera off makes no fucking sense. The audio should not be as good as it is. It just completely takes you out of the experience, which in a normal movie it wouldn't, because like that it's just a normal movie, you know.
Yeah. There was actually a scene kind of like that in this movie. I think it was when after the Among Us entered the building, and
oh my god,
they told Pablo to like stop recording, and then the little kid like turns the camera on and it's on the floor recording some of the guys speaking to each other. But the version, at least the version I watched, didn't have subs for what they were talking about, so I didn't like it. You could perfectly hear they were talking, and but I didn't know what they were saying because I didn't have subs. So I wonder if
I think that's intentional, because there's a moment later after that. I think it's after that where they're where Angela and Pablo are like trying to record what's going on with that doctor guy that came in the hazmat suit, and Pablo can't hear what they're saying. But there is audible dialogue, like it can be understood. Of course, neither of us speak Spanish, so we don't know what they're saying. But there's no subtitles the whole time, so it's like I have to assume that's intentional. That there is no subtitles, because we're probably not supposed to understand what they're saying. Understanding what they're saying is a bonus.
Yeah, I gotta look that up. Maybe someone has translated what they're saying, because
probably
would be cool.
But yeah, this is another one of those movies. I said this with Alien too, the last episode, where I enjoyed watching it again more than the first time I watched it a while ago. Like I was I don't know, maybe I was just in a better mood this time. I still really liked it the first time I watched. I gave it a fucking 8 out of 10. Like, it was nothing, like, as soon as the movie was over. But I enjoyed myself more this time, and I was more invested.
Yeah, I can understand that.
And maybe it's because I knew what was gonna happen, that, like, it was like, oh fuck, I know what happens to you. I know what happens to you. It's all horrible. I can't wait to see it again. One of my favorite things like that is the kid. The reveal that the dog is the same one that belongs to the family is so fucked. And, like, as soon as you hear that, it's like, oh shit, that kid don't have tonsillitis. Yeah. That kid's fucking dead.
Yep. And that brings me to one of the notes that I had here, actually. I haven't watched too many zombie films, so correct me if I'm wrong, but zombie kids are rare. At least that's what it felt to me.
I was so ecstatic when I first watched this movie. I'm ecstatic anytime I watch a horror movie, and this is gonna make me sound like a fucking psychopath. Whenever it's true. Whenever I watch a horror movie, I'm so excited when a fucking kid dies. Or an animal, which also makes me sound like a horrible person. Because it is such it's seen by the audience as like such a taboo when those two things happen.
Yeah.
That
exactly.
I respect the balls on a movie to actually just go out of its way and to kill the ones that aren't allowed.
Yeah.
Oh, that voice crack.
There's I want to ask you something. At the end, when Pablo is looking into the attic, was that the same kid or some other kid? I got confused there.
That's the monster kid at the end of the movie. That's the one that has that's like Zero. That's the patient Zero.
Oh, okay.
At least that's what I thought so, because it's.
I thought it was like a smaller child, and then patient Zero when they come walking around with this.
I might be misremembering.
Yeah. Either way, but that was one of the questions I had regarding that.
That reminds me, the effect on that thing. It's like clearly CG, but it's really good looking CG.
They gotta hide it well with the like dark vision camera thing. It's a very clever thing to do.
Yeah, the night vision really helps to hide that. It's still noticeably CG, which is a surprising pick for a movie this I think this low budget.
I have written down here that there was something very visceral about the zombies in this movie. Almost a flare of human. They weren't complete monsters, which made things extra scary. I remember there was this one scene. I think it was the gun. I don't remember what scene it was that prompted me to write this, but I think it was when the police shot the old lady when it was like running back again. There was a moment in the movie that made the zombies feel, at least that one zombie, very like human in a weird way. Almost kind of like there would have been like a side of human left. Because like there was a moment, I don't remember the specific moment, maybe it was the gun moment when they shoot the old lady and the police goes like, oh, like a zombie stops and doesn't just run straight at them and it's kind of just like looking, and that was like scary.
That happens a couple of times in the movie, so I don't know exactly which one you'd be talking about.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
Also, I was right, this movie had a surprisingly higher budget than I expected, but a lower budget than most movies get, which is in 2008 $2 million.
2 million.
And in today money, which I just checked, that'd be less than 3 million still.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a fairly low budget movie. They used their budget very effectively. For one, the entire movie is set in one place.
I love movies like that in general.
I think you'd like Cube.
If they're done well. Cube.
I love Cube. That's it's not a found footage movie, but it does that similar thing where it's like the whole movie is set in one room pretty much.
Well, I guess oh yeah. Go ahead, sorry.
No, I was just about to fucking gush about Cube. We should move.
Let's not gush about Cube.
Yeah, let's talk about the movie we're here to talk about, folks.
This can segue us, like everything taking place in one place, to another topic that I really liked. I think this one of the only ones that I've seen where zombie infection is like from this perspective, because the government or whoever were clearly aware of the situation and they instantly came in like all guns blazing, blocking the entire fucking building down and just leaving the people inside. That was cool. That was cool. Like they knew something that our lead characters don't. That was a cool vibe I liked. I have also written down and it gave me Half-Life vibes and I don't know why.
Somehow I kind of agree. Most Half-Life 2 more than Half-Life 1.
Yeah, that's what I meant. That's what I meant.
Although it's not like there's nothing specific that like you could tie to Half-Life 2 because
exactly.
Maybe the building, it's kind of like the apartment building, but it's not the same architecture because this is a Spanish movie.
Zombies, the authority of like the police, metro cops blocking the building.
I don't know. Also, to talk about the police, that cop that later the taller cop, the
one who survives.
Well,
with the gun
survives.
Well, yeah, but they are like further than the other cop.
That scene where they're like they're all trying to escape off the patio or whatever, and they're like the guys outside are like, no, fuck off. Even the cop starts getting like really panicked because he's like, oh fuck, I'm stuck in here. And then everybody's like talking over each other and screaming and yelling at each other, and then the fucking guy just pulls a gun. And in that moment, I couldn't help but think, wow, a cop pulling a gun on civilians? What else is new?
I don't belong here. Let me out. But yeah, so stress-inducing when they're in the lobby and the zombies are pushing through the shutter. I had written down. That was like a tower defense moment there.
Yeah.
When after the whatever they were doing to the zombies in the like lab room, and they started following them into the lobby, and I didn't even mention that one scene where the body falls down from the top. I wanted to when you were talking about booming sound.
I have that in my notes too. That fucks. That part just fucks.
The sound. I don't remember if I got scared, but I remember being like, whew, when it happened. And the camera isn't even like. No, wait, yeah, it is. It's pointing at the direction, then the body just fucking slams down.
I knew that happened in the movie, but I didn't remember when. And I wasn't like consciously thinking about it while rewatching. And I was like, and when it happened, I was like, oh fuck. Like it didn't scare me. I guess it startled me a little bit, but it was like, oh shit, right. And that's another moment where like the sound design is just fucking on point.
Yeah.
Where that firefighter falls. I don't know how the fuck anybody thought that guy survived that fall. I don't know how far he fell, but the sound he made it sound pretty far.
Yeah. Who was your favorite character?
Probably Angela. I like in another moment of grounding the movie in reality. I like that she's fairly vain. And she's a little ego driven because there's various moments even when she's in the building and like everybody's trapped in, where she's like, oh, this is what makes the shot look better. This is how I look better in the shot. My hair is parted this way. Like, it helps to this is pretty fucking standard film knowledge or just story writing in general. But characters having flaws makes them more likable.
Yeah.
And Angela is likable because of that, and also in spite of that, because she is clearly somewhat vain, but she still is like still fairly empathetic and sympathetic towards the other people in the building. Like she's one of the only few people in the building that's not like super racist towards that one family. Unlike that other guy who's like way more vain than her and super fucking racist.
Yeah, that fucking guy made me laugh.
That entire scene in general, the interviews, is probably my favorite part of the movie, just because of how real all of the characters like feel. I don't remember their names. I'm never gonna remember their names because their names aren't important.
Wow, names aren't important.
True.
Yeah, I guess what you mean.
They all deserve to die, actually. In fact.
Well, they do in the movie. They do.
They don't deserve to die.
But go ahead. You were about to finish that.
But it again, it helps to ground the movie in reality. But also, it's just so they all just feel so fucking human. Like they're all kind of manic a little bit. They're all haggard.
Haggard.
There's that like old couple where the old lady keeps talking over the old man, and he's like, "Can I tell the story?" And it's like,
yeah,
that's like, yeah, wow, that is how old people do act. All the time.
That was real life. That gave me real life anxiety listening to like couples argue.
I think that's part of what Rec feels like a real newscast. That's gone horribly fucking wrong. Like there are still film bits, like some of the transitions, like some of the glitch transitions and rewinds and stuff. They don't really look all that accurate if you're examining them. But it feels like not everything you'd see on the news. Like, a lot of it would probably get censored because of how fucking horrific it is. But it's shot and done in a way that looks real. And that's the big thing with this movie, is that it feels real. Like, that's how it stays engaging and, like, investing, is that the characters, it's not the characters that rope you in, as fun as they can be to watch. It's just the fucking filmmaking is basically a character in itself. Like, it has so much to say. It's one of the best shot of these kinds of movies I've ever seen, which is saying a lot, because you're not, like, getting artistic shots with a movie like this, you know? Or at least you're not going out of your way. Okay, that's not what I mean. That sounds like they're not trying.
They definitely. But yeah, I get what you mean. I get what you mean, though. And, who know, you know who my favorite character was?
Who?
Manu. The firefighter who survives the longest.
Oh yeah, that guy's awesome. That guy is fucking
went
awesome.
ham on those zombies.
Yeah.
And he looked scared while doing it. It really felt like a real response. Like, get the fuck away! And he, like, fucking smashes the head in.
Yeah, in the stairway scene
him.
when they're running up to the penthouse, they look down and he's like, he fucking looks back up and is like, no!
Yeah.
I like that guy.
I was sad when he died, but I knew it was coming. I fucking knew it.
When I first watched this movie, I thought maybe at least one person would survive. It is crazy knowing in hindsight that no one survives this movie. Not a single soul.
I was expecting the main character to survive. And maybe Manu.
She is she does feel like the final girl of the movie. So, but of course the final girl doesn't always have to live. That's the trope. But yeah, it's interesting rewatching the movie and knowing everyone's gonna die, and yet still being just as, if not more, invested than the first time watching through. I can't even, like, explicitly describe why I was more invested this time. I brought this up just a second ago, so I'm kind of repeating myself, but,
I had something I wanted to say, but I forgot. Maybe it'll come back to me.
Let me take a look through my notes real quick.
I have written here that the pounding of the mallet that's another point of the sound design theme, when, like, Manu starts fighting the zombies and the two, like, run away, and you can just hear him pounding them with the mallet, like, tung, tung, tung. That's good.
Yeah, it's pretty it's pretty intense, the sound design.
Yeah. Even when the zombies are, like, pounding at the doors, like, they're, like, holding them shut and the zombies are right behind, and then you hear them, like, scour away, like, tung, tung, tung.
I really like the moment where I don't know what to call him, the hazmat guy, the doctor or whatever.
The Among Us.
Yeah, the Among Us, sure, fuck it. I like when that guy comes in, and we talked about that scene a little bit when talking about the dialogue, like, not being able to hear the dialogue. But that entire sequence is, like, it's great because it's, like, right after everything gets fucked and that one guy gets bit, and they start running out and they go to close the shutter. That guy, the hazmat suit guy, the Among Us.
Yeah.
He is a pure coward. Like, you've got even Angela jumping in to keep the door closed. Like, she's a fucking like newscaster, and she's doing more work than this guy to keep everybody safe.
It was a very good, like, I guess, characterization moment where the Among Us guy is like, I want to get the fuck out of here, like, let me out, like, I don't belong here. But in the end, I did find it cool that he locked himself away because he knew he was bit.
Yeah, he's like, get lost. Like,
yeah.
Those are, at least on the subtitles I watched, that was the direct translation of what he said.
Yeah, I don't remember. It wasn't a friendly, like, no, get away, I'm bitten. It was just like, fuck off, I'm bitten.
Yeah, which, to be fair, if you're bitten and know you're about to become a zombie, I probably wouldn't be too polite about it either.
Yeah.
And also, that's the same part where that fucking racist asshole gets his comeuppance. Best death of the movie, definitely.
It was so funny when it was one of those infection moments that felt real because it was like an accident. Like, he didn't think that the zombie would grab through the, like, gate thing, and he was just standing there thinking about the keys. That's that's the stuff that happens in real life.
We keep bringing it up, but it's, like, impossible not to bring up with the movie. Is that, like, it's all of this stuff works to make the movie feel more grounded and more real, and it just it gets to you. It really gets to you because it's not like characters you're getting attached to. It's just people that you're empathizing with and sympathizing with. Like you feel the situation they're in, even though it's not a real list. Like even if it wouldn't happen in real life.
Yeah, you should call this video "Wreck is real." I don't.
No, not in any world would I do that. Anyway, pretty good documentary on COVID.
Oh my god. Actually, like, that actually can segue me to the next point. In, like, a grander scheme, in, like, a lore standpoint, I like that they quarantined the building, and maybe, possibly, they're hoping that some of them would survive alive. Let's be honest, they weren't. And, like, what happens next? Disregarding Rec 2, I just like to speculate, like, in the context of the first movie, what would happen next? Are they able to contain the virus in the building, or would it just, like, due to human error, start spreading elsewhere too?
Knowing the government, if they thought it was too far gone, that building would be fucking obliterated.
Yeah. That also brings me, like, the dog. When the reveal is done that the dog was taken to a vet, and it was discovered that it's carrying, like, some unknown disease, that made me instantly think, like, oh no, the dog is somewhere else. What if there's another outbreak elsewhere in the city? And it, like, slowly but pretty quickly it spreads everywhere, and soon it's out of control. Maybe like in usually
maybe that's expanded
movies.
Upon in one of the other 2 Rec movies that I've not seen. There's 4 of these fucking movies, by the way. The last one I think is called Rec. What is it? Rec Apocalypse or something like that.
Oh my god. Okay, I'm gonna watch these all.
I think I need to also watch all 4 of these movies.
I'm gonna watch these and like get back to you in the YouTube comments. I'm gonna just say like, yeah, they were not worth it.
I might still watch them anyway because I've seen some garbage, dude.
Yeah. Well, I do have some questions regarding the movie.
Okay.
Some things that left me kind of confused. Maybe you understand them better than I did.
I'll see if I can give you my best.
So, you already called that skinny guy the Patient Zero. So it's, I guess, the original zombie, maybe?
Yeah, that's the girl that's brought up in the tape in the penthouse.
But is it ever talked about or even alluded to how she got infected in the first place? And how did the dog get infected? That's what I'm like thinking about. Did the dog enter the penthouse or something?
They don't explain the dog thing in the first movie. They do in the second movie. I don't exactly remember how, but I know it happens in the second movie. And I don't know if they explain explicitly how the girl gets the disease in the first movie.
But if it has something to do with demons, I don't even care. But yeah,
it does. It does. Both of your questions have something to do with demons. I kind of like that in the first movie. It's left fairly vague. I always like that kind of stuff in movies because it leaves a lot up to speculation. I don't think every question asked in a movie needs an answer. I know there are some people out there who like need an answer for everything.
I like it, but I am also oftentimes frustrated, but then I get over it pretty quickly.
I think that's part of the fun, is the frustration of just, like, being set up a question that the movie is not going to answer for you on purpose.
Yeah, I guess it works.
But yeah, to answer your question, both of those are, at least one of them is expanded upon, one of your questions is expanded upon in Rec 2. The other one is, I'm pretty sure, answered in Rec 2.
Okay.
But yeah, that's what I got for you there. I could go more into detail, but if you plan to watch that
I'm just gonna watch Rec 2.
Yeah.
I have also written down here that I would love to see another point of view of this movie. Like another...
well, you might like Rec 2 then.
I was gonna say, like, from the outside, like from a government person's perspective, where we know what's happening, and, you know, there's like these people running around and soldiers and whatnot that are giving orders and whatnot. And then we hear like stuff from the first movie, like the boom and like the gunshots, and they're like, what the hell is happening in there? Like, I would like to see something like that.
That kind of happens in Rec 2. It's not really a spoiler because it's like the beginning of the movie, but it still takes place in the same building. But it's, like I said earlier, it's right after the ending of Rec 1. So, like, right after. So the building's already infested, but it starts with, like, a bunch of government employees going into the building.
Guess I gotta watch Rec 2. Like, really? That's, like, the answer to all of my questions here.
It's a fun movie. It's just not as well done. It's not as well written or well edited as the first movie.
When I was looking up Rec, and it suggested me all 4 of the films, one of them, I don't remember which one, was it 2 or 3 or 4, had a cover. There was like a woman standing there and holding a fucking gun.
That's
like,
Apocalypse, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so yeah, I'm not looking forward to that one.
And to bring this up real quick, since I've been ignoring it the whole time, and I don't even think Ryan knows about this.
Oh.
We're not talking about Quarantine. For those of you that don't know, Quarantine is the American remake of Wreck, and everything I've seen of it makes it look like pure fucking garbage.
There's no way. Oh my god, it's like the fucking American version of Death Note. Like, and it sucks.
I've been of the strong opinion for a pretty long time that most American remakes of foreign horror movies, just foreign movies in general, tend to be pretty fucking awful. I'm one of the few people that thinks the Ring remake, the one by Gore Verbinski, who's a director I really like, who directed Rango and the first 3 Pirates movies.
Oh.
That fucking sucks. It's not the worst horror movie I've ever seen. It's not even the worst American remake I've ever seen. That goes to The Grudge, which is the worst American remake I've ever seen.
Yeah, I've heard. I haven't seen it, but I've heard.
Maybe at some point I'll do a special episode all about American remakes of horror movies.
That's going to be a fun, umbrella.
But it will not. I'll have to get people who have seen the movies, so I'll have to force my friends to watch the originals first, so that they know what good movies are.
I can be the one who watches Quarantine.
Yeah.
Since I've seen Wreck.
But I'm not excited to see Quarantine. I will eventually, because I have this morbid fascination with American remakes of horror movies specifically. I can't look away. It's like a fucking train wreck. But yeah, watch the original Ringu and Ju-on The Grudge. They're so much better. They're so much fucking better. I just want to get that out of the way real quick. They're so much fucking better.
So, are there any questions that you have? I know you've seen Wreck 2, but are there anything in the first movie that made you just question something?
Not really.
Questions left unanswered and such.
Like you brought up, you brought up with the dog. I thought the same thing. Like, oh shit, does that mean somebody else could be infected because the dog was outside at the vet? Maybe it bit somebody there. That's how they knew it was aggressive. But I didn't think about it too much because, like I said, I like those questions. So I don't think about them too hard. I know they're there. It makes sense that they're there, but they don't take away from the experience. I'm mostly just I'm not left with questions that really matter, I guess, is to put what I'm trying to say into words.
I understand that point of view. Yes.
Nice.
I think I've scoured through most of our notes here. There's one more thing here, but I'm gonna leave that till the very end because it's more of a funny thing.
We honestly might already be at the end because I think I've run out of what I have to say for my notes as well. So,
you wanna hear my thing?
Yeah, sure. What do you got?
Okay, so I haven't watched too many horror films, but I watched some action films and horror films and whatnot. And there's this one running theme that I've noticed, and I wanna know if you or anyone else watching this video agrees with me. A running theme I've noticed is how female protagonists always lose their top clothing or part of their clothing.
Yeah.
That happened in this one, and it was just okay, it wasn't too noticeable or annoying, but I did notice it, because recently I watched another found footage film called The Tunnel, and the same thing happens there, and the female protagonist is running around in a tank top, and I guess that you could kinda say the same for original Alien, that it happens, but yeah, and it happens a lot in action movies and whatnot, and it's it's just, when you start paying attention to it, you start noticing it, and it's really, really funny.
Tank tops in general just kind of go with action, I guess. It's kind of
so you can see the sweat and the grime on the skin, I guess.
It's because it's, at least in Wreck, it's not revealing at all, the tank top. So,
yeah, exactly.
But it's like in Die Hard, where the I don't know the name of the character, but Bruce Willis's character is he's got the tank top going on, and it's he's covered in fucking sweat and shit. It's just a general action hero thing, I guess, because I think that happens with Rambo too. And in Predator, in Predator.
I guess it happens to everyone. But the point is that it is pretty funny when you start paying attention to it.
Yeah, I've never really considered it much, but yeah, and I'd much prefer that in a horror movie over the horrible abundance of. I'm not looking forward to talking about that specific topic when I get to the when I get to Evil Dead.
My eyes just bulged. I've never watched Evil Dead.
I love Evil Dead, but
I didn't know that's a theme in those films.
I might cut out that bit.
Go ahead.
Fuck, I don't know how to end this. I guess I'm gonna do another funny like little thing I did with the first video, where it just cuts to whatever from the movie. Fuck it.